Yeah, let's start. Present. Yeah. Okay, so while we're all here, let's do a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay. Colin,
Yeah. Oh, great. So,
go right ahead. You gotta go to work.
yeah, thank you. Yeah. So my name's Colin Miller. For those who haven't met, I run the vintage baseball team that uses the ballpark in town. We have a few games a year, but we do bring in people from far and wide. Last year, we actually had a team come all the way from Michigan to play us. So I just wanted to share because in the past we've had really, really good working relationship with the village, and I want to make sure that continues. I know with use of the park, at the beginning of the year, I would just send out like all the dates that I needed to organize the games and stuff, so there wasn't any conflicts. Usually, there's never been a problem, so I just want that kind of to continue. So I wanted to inform you guys like of our schedule and what's happening, but I also wanted to let you guys know about what has kind of transpired with the field and the usage and the historic preservation of the field. Back in 2020, I brought some stuff for you guys just to hand out, and you can kind of follow along, but this shouldn't take long. I just wanted to share with you guys so you're a little more informed of what's going on over there and what has happened and maybe not happened. And, so just a little, real quickly, the park history. This was back in 1914, the Fleischman's family donated the ballpark to the village. The trustees at the time had resolved that it would be used for a park for athletic purposes, no other purpose, that it shall never be sold or sublet, it should be free of access to the public, subject to the restrictions as may from time to time be placed upon the public by the village authorities, and furthermore, they shall always keep the property in good condition. I guess in 1934, they wanted the trustees at the time wanted to ask the Fleischman's family, hey, what about the free of access part of this? Can we charge for admission? And to which time the Fleischman's family said, sure, yes, we understand you need to assess fees for the park usage. So actually, the park has done, the village has done that in the past. I have to interject here that the ball club does not charge admission to our events. We just basically take donations to cover the umpire fees and stuff like that. We just take a collection, usually it's $50 or something that we collect from the game, and we fork it right over to the umpire. Back in 2007, the Mountain Athletic Club vintage baseball team was revived. We're supported by the Mark Project. So Peg Ellsworth was really a juggernaut of enthusiasm and support for 19th century baseball throughout the Catskills, and we kind of partnered up on that, and the club was launched in 2007. I joined the club then and started to play. In 2009, the park needed some renovations. It also needed, there was some, I believe the infield was paid with some of that money from the Environmental Protection Fund that came out of New York State grant money. Peg couldn't be here today. She was on a call at 9 o'clock with the state for some other matter. But she said to express that when the state gave the money to the village, it also came with a little bit of a stick that said that it really couldn't be sold or sublet. So it kind of goes back to 1914, that it has to be remain public access, free for public events and that sort of thing. So in 2010, I just threw on there that we and others raised $7,000 for a portion of the accessible playground that's there. Part of the Mountain Athletic Club's vision and mission is to help with financing and funding and We try to do fundraisers. Our games are not just games. I try to make them events where we can bring in more people. So I'm all about trying to promote that and promote the park. It should be noted, $100,000 after Hurricane Irene was provided to resod that field by Kingdon Gould back when Mayor Pasquarello was at the helm. And I think that's pretty significant because we wouldn't be playing if that wasn't done, right? I was actually living in New Hampshire at the time, and I came back to get married in Delaware County, and I remember driving through the park right after the floods, and we all were there, right? We all knew what it looked like. I remember it was actually a big baseball. There was a piece of plywood that we used to use to advertise our games, and I remember if you flipped it over, it said "Park closed" on spray paint. And the park was just a big dump. I mean, it was like the debris field that was there. We all know what it used to look like if we were there in 2011. Yeah. So I remember, and so it's always been very near and dear to me. So basically in 2020, at the advent of our 125th anniversary since the park opened in 1895 for baseball, and I think there was a bicycle track that went around it at one time too. Back in the 1890s, bicycles were just starting to be a thing, so I actually built a bike track around it. But the picture that I have on this, that's from 1899, with the full spectators there and people kind of peeking through the gate before the ivy had grown on the fence, which would have been Wagner Avenue. That would have been Wagner Avenue where the horse and buggies are sitting. And I just want to share this. In 2004, John Thorne, who is the official historian of Major League Baseball, he wrote a personal essay and published it in the Woodstock Times about Fleischmann's and the ballpark and the team that played there in the 1890s into the early 1900s. And I think what he said was really poignant and it bears repeating. In this somewhat remote place, determined individuals and families who love the old ways are working to be sure of the past. The extent of their success will indeed predict the future of Fleischmann's and so many other communities whose histories, if properly understood and conveyed, are their principal assets. So I kind of leave you with that. And then I did include on the back page here, when this was listed in 2020 under the Historic Preservation Act, it basically kicks into play a series of permitting, and that basically, if in this example, if the State Department of Health is called in to permit an activity, be it a festival or fair or what have you, they basically they have to go to the SHPO, which is the State Historic Preservation Office, and do a consult. I have to do these on my projects. I work for the city of New York, so I have to do those for projects I oversee as well. It's a simple program. It's actually a website. It's called CRIS, Cultural Resource Information System. It's a GIS. You go in there, you put your project in, what you want to do, and then they review it, and they basically say, yes, this is on a historic site. Here's all the things that you have to do to protect it. These would be the adverse impacts and such, and that's kind of where I just wanted to let you guys know that sort of the history of the park, what you have to do in SHPO to permit activities there in the future, and then lastly, I just included our schedule for the year, where we are gonna be part of the cleanup effort in a couple of weeks. We actually have an adopt a highway, so we do 1.2 miles of Route 28 from High Mount down to the edge of Main Street. So we're gonna be doing that. We do that every year as kind of a kickoff, and we help the village with that. And really appreciate having to have a little bit of a practice. This year we have the team coming from Saugerties to join us for that practice, so I'm excited. We have May 17th, June 29th, July 27th, and August 9th would be our home games. The last of which being hopefully a volunteer fire department. We usually have them do a chicken barbecue with us. So I am totally open and honest and willing and whatever to work with the business community to make our events more widely known. Encourage our patrons to use local businesses when they're in town. That's all part of it. I will say that I'm sort of the chief cook and bottle washer of the whole operation. So I have a family, lots of other interests and stuff, and I happen to enjoy playing baseball. But I do this out of my passion for playing baseball and supporting, Fleischmann's and certainly our use of the park. So happy to work or answer any questions the village has of me, of our organization. And, you know, and I share that we've had lots of help from historians from all over the country in trying to codify that place as a special place in baseball history. If you're a Yankee fan, Miller Huggins was the second baseman for the New York Yankees, or no, I'm sorry, the Cincinnati Reds, and then managed Ruth and Garrett. Miller Huggins played there, as well as lots of other major leaguers. So that's what made it sort of historically significant in a baseball sense. Obviously, in a local sense, you know, the Fleischmans donated it to the village, and they basically incorporated it as Fleischman. So it's sort of one and the same with baseball and the village sort of coming together. So it's a very unique place in that respect. So that's why I thought it was really interesting to try to put it on the map, so to speak, as a historic place. So happy to entertain any questions you might have before I gotta take off.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
No, except the Cincinnati Reds were the team that was owned by the Fleischman's family.
Correct. Yes, correct.
Now, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
You said you guys do fundraising. Did you guys donate any money to the village?
So in the past, when I've asked to use the field, there came with there was a usage fee, like a facility usage fee, which is similar to other municipalities. Like if I rented a pavilion at Hobart Park, for example, for my son's birthday party, you know, it was like $50 to rent the facility. In the past, that fee was waived for us. It was because we're doing a nonprofit, we're bringing people in. I like that it's waived. I mean, obviously that's been a nice thing for us. Like I said, we have a shoestring budget. But yeah, that has been pretty typical of, you know, using facilities and stuff like that.
So I think right now what we have is, if anybody asks for permission to use the ballpark, we get a $50 deposit.
Yeah.
And then once we get, you know, you finish your event, we'll give you the money back. So actually, the village doesn't make any money.
Right.
The reason why I ask you that is because you're racing.
Sure.
So it'll be nice for, you know, for people that uses the village assets to, you know, consider giving some money to the village.
Absolutely.
Why? Because we have expenses. We have, there's a lot that has to be done. And like I said, from day one, we have the village of Fleischmans owns, you know, different properties. We have the ball field, we have the tennis court, along with the pickleball, the beautiful playground, the soccer field, the swimming pool. So all of these are assets, and they are for everybody to use, not for any specific groups, not for anybody in particular, it's for everybody. Like I said at the beginning, the Fleischman's family came, you know, they were a Jewish family, and back then, for those, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, they were from the city. They had money, obviously, they used to be with a lot of rich people, but at one point they felt, how can I say it? They felt pushed out because they were Jews compared to, you know, in that big group that they had. So they came to this area, they live here, they bought, you know, they own a lot of stuff here, and then they ended up donating the ballpark to the village of Fleischmans with the clause that if the village ever disincorporates, it will go back to the Fleischmans family. My point is, everything that we have here, and I said it many times, and I'm very glad to see a lot of people, is for all the people of Fleischmans and the visitors to come and enjoy. You know, we enjoy all these assets that we have, and we're trying to, the village as a village, we have to bring more people in, more tourism. We don't have, obviously, the money, we don't have the funds. We depend on Mark Project to help us out and bring things for us. Everybody's being tight right now. Mark Project is so tight on, you know, many grants that they're writing, so we're missing a lot of opportunities because, you know, we connect with them. And I have said it in the past that I'd be interested, a lot of you here write grants, you know, and if you guys really look to help us out, you could write a grant. You know, we're in need of a basketball court. We used to have everything. We used to have everything. The baseball, the tennis, the basketball, the lights at night that we used to lit. I don't know if you ever saw that, Colin.
Yeah.
We used to be, back in the day, we used to have, the Nelson tournament. Used to come to Fleischmann's. And that's a big deal for the kids in soccer. We used to have those lights up. Now, we don't have those lights.
Yeah,
We're talking about 11, 12 years that,
yeah.
that happened. So we are being looking into how do we bring that back? And obviously, right now, the way of life, the cost of living, everything is so expensive. So I look into companies to, somehow start getting quotes to bring those lights back on. And you're talking over $20,000.
Yeah.
And again, thank you, Colin.
Sorry, excuse me. Can you bring up the dates?
Oh, yeah, yes. Yes, Diane is gonna mention about the deed of the,
I just
The
want
ballpark.
to bring up something because email was sent out to the village regarding the ballpark
Okay.
and how if we pursued the matter, things would be taken further.
Yep.
So I was asked to look into it and I
Sure.
pulled up the deeds for the village park.
Okay.
And according to the deeds, the village baseball field is deeded as 100 feet by 100 feet by 100 feet by 100 feet on the baseball field. The rest of the park is deeded as the park for the village of Fleischmann's. So the Mac Field got the entire park listed as the Mac Field, but that is incorrect because the one deed that I have, and you can come look at it, I could be wrong, but it says the baseball field is 100 feet by 100 feet by 100 feet. It was by Alicius Lasher. And
Yeah,
that's
the
what was
Lasher plat,
deeded,
right,
that's right,
right,
and that's
yeah.
what was deeded to the baseball field, not the entire park.
Yeah, and so in 2020, that was, if you look at the dimensions in the application for the historic registry, they don't use the whole 4-acre park as they've designated the ball field. And the ball field was, I don't remember the exact acreage from the application.
For the Mac Field?
Yeah, but
It
it's
says
not
five,
the whole park.
well,
Not
it
the
says
whole park.
4.5 on it, and it shows the exact outline of the park, the whole park.
On the application
Yep.
for the registry?
Yep,
So we can talk to the SHPO about that.
okay, but I'll look it over
Yeah,
again
we
just to
can-
make sure that
yeah.
I'm right, but
Okay.
I double checked just to make sure so that I didn't, Sam
Sure.
didn't, but it looks like the ball field's it's not the entire park. So even if you're looking at this,
Yeah,
this is them watching the game. That doesn't mean the whole ballpark
sure,
is
yeah.
part
Yeah,
of the
well, obviously
ballpark.
100 by 100 foot square.
All the-
is not-
yes.
Yeah, I mean, that would probably cover not even the infield. So, yeah, we probably want to make that adjustment and the SHPO could do that for us. We could say, hey, we figured this out. It was incorrect. But I do know that when we did the application, it wasn't the whole park with the tennis courts and all that, because that's not the historical part of the park,
Right.
right? That
They're
it was really
listed,
the
right.
baseball.
They're on the map, but
Yeah.
it does say, but if you want to stop by sometime, I'm there 8 to 4 usually, or 8 to
Okay.
3, and
Yeah.
I'll bring them out and show you to them.
Great, yeah,
Okay.
and it's recorded in the county clerk's office.
Yeah, I
too,
know.
Right? So-
Yep,
So we can look there and then maybe work with the SHPO to figure that out and have a more appropriate dimension. for
Okay.
that, but yeah, that's well.
yeah, because there's 2 deeds.
Yep. Yeah, there's one for the Lasher plat in total.
Right. And then
Okay,
there's one for just the baseball
Gotcha.
field.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah, thank
thanks.
thank you,
Appreciate that,
thanks a lot, and,
you. Thank you, guys.
with that being said, so now, again, there's a lot of things that have to be done for the village. We have a lot of activities. We have a summer coming up. And as we all know, the summer is the best time for everybody. Moving back to the cleanup day, which is
Sunday the 27th.
27th.
Yeah.
Yeah, April 27th from 10,
What's that?
it starts at 10.
A little earlier than that for the people who are going to participate in the actual cleanup. We have 2 teams working. Colin's going to be working with the team on Route 28.
Mhm.
He's going to be meeting anybody who wants to join him. and his team, they can meet at that, what we talked about, and Colin will be there.
8:45, yeah, we'll
Okay,
be there 8:45 with a box of donuts, so.
So, and then anyone who wants to walk the village streets, getting supplies from the Catskill Watershed Corporation, and Colin gets his from the DOT. And then for the people walking the village streets, and Colin's team, we're gonna meet back at the park at 12 noon, whereas as you will be hosting a barbecue, a mayor's barbecue, like we've done in years past.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but the sound is off.
We also are going to be, this is gonna be put on the paper, in the newspaper. We need to advertise, we need to rent the concession stand at the ballpark. We need to rent the storefront at the theater. And we also have to hire a new help for Corky, for Leland. Many of you know, Sean left, he went to work for the town. So now we are gonna be looking into getting a new Department of Public Works helper for, that's gonna be for anybody that wants to work. We're gonna be repainting the crosswalks that we started to paint a couple of years ago. We're gonna repaint those, make them nice and bright. And we also need to hire an accountant for the village. That has to happen for the better of the village. And let's see, I think that's it. So now it's we're gonna open the floor for questions, comments. Fred?
Has the fire contract been signed?
The fire contract, it's on Gary's hands, Gary Kusin hands. So I got follow up, got back to me. So I know, yeah. Thank you, Fred. Anybody else? Winifred. Yes, Winifred.
Yes, I have a request that I submitted to the.
Yes.
Regarding the use of the lot for parking for the Memorial Day Street Fair. And that site is under the supervision of the Delaware County Planning Department. And we would like to request their permission for us, for the village, to use that for ancillary parking for that purpose. So I'm requesting that the board, the village, agree to that request and to sign the letter that would allow us to request that permission. There's no cost. The Delaware County as an additional insured on the village's insurance policy. In the past, when we have sought that, there's been no upcharge from the insurance company. Don't know if that condition still exists. I'm seeking the approval to move ahead with seeking permission from Delaware County.
We're gonna, it shouldn't be a problem, Winifred. It shouldn't be a problem. I think we're gonna, we did this already before, if I'm not mistaken. And again, this is to bring more people, have the access for a lot of people to park and not being struggling like in the past. But yeah, I don't think I don't see a problem with this. I don't see a problem. And we're gonna be good. Winifred. We're gonna put it on the village letterhead. It shouldn't be a problem.
And then the village can contact insurance company to see that, and that's also fine.
Yes, just like in the past, yes. Hi.
Sam, that's a perfect segue. I was going to actually offer assistance in beginning the process for next year to work with the county to be able to utilize the Bailey property, Logan County Utility Waste there for parking, for whatever sorts of things, would be able to help the village in the future. I think it's a more probably appropriate location for that. And it's much more space.
Mhm.
I've spoken to my friend Miguel about this a little bit, but I think there's a lot of mutual benefit to building upon some of the good working relationship with the other county property, Wagner Avenue there for parking, and try to finally make use of the other property for the village is the benefit. So I happen to have, I don't know, I'm not presuming you don't, but I happen to have close contacts with the county planning department that I've been working with since I was mayor.
Mhm.
I think they're at a point where they're interested in not being burdened with this, but